Hello, good day, and welcome to another calculator tutorial. Now, in this video, I will be looking at a split level model and I will be doing some calculations. Now, the model that you see on display is what we are looking at. It is showing a full floor above and it has a split level at the lower level. Now, this is our front presentation of the building, but I think I can find a few that would represent the split level. So this is saying the basement floor. As you see, it's not a full floor. And then you have the full floor above. Now, other views that I can look on is the elevation that is coming from the left or right, which is showing the split, as well as it can be seen in the cross sections. Now, using the building calculator, one of the first things that you're going to come up on is the area of the building. You do not want to take the area from the cover sheet that's saying the combined area. You are going to have to look for the area that shows the amount per level. Now, to convert these areas, we are going to have to multiply by 10.76. So on the basement floor, it will be 85 times 10.76. And on the ground floor, it will be 153.10.76. So that is saying that the total area is 2,560.88 square feet. And if you were to use the basic system that we have locally and to do a projection, that would be saying that this building would cost about $38.4 million. So what we are going to do is that we are going to use the same conditions and we are going to put in the cost that the calculator presents. Now, when adding data and you reach question 7, this is a little bit of a tricky scenario because one would be saying that this is the split level area. But when you say split level, what you're really making mention of is that some of the building is supported on the ground and some is supported on the slab level. And at this level, all of it would be supported by the ground. So you have to use that in question 7 as a main level. The other questions are pretty much basic, similar to situations that we would have used before. In this case, I am going to use the drawing to pick off most of these data. One of the other sensitive question is question 13. In this case, it's asking about will the building area be flattened? And because it's a split level, you are expected to excavate most of this area to make the building fit. So the answer here is gonna be yes. Now, one of the new parameters that has been added to the calculator is question 14, and it is asking if the site will require a site office. And let us just say we use yes in this scenario, and we are going to just add in the rest of these. So we are saying that there's no storage, there is no bathroom, there's no water, and there's no electricity. We are going to make provision for a water tank, and we are not going to make any provisions for ceiling because the drawing is not identifying any. Now, we are going to say there's a contractor, and we are going to say that we are using traditional for the question 23 and 24. And the final answer that we are going to put here is the type of soil. And in this case, I'm going to use milestone. So upon putting in all those, I am able to get a final result. And in this case, it is saying that the basement floor is going to come in roughly about 20 million. Now, I would have had ground floor here. Let me correct these. So this should be basement, similar to what is seen on the regular setup. So let me get that in place. And I'm going to add the cost that we have on the calculator. And what we are going to do in this case is just make provision for the ground floor. In this case, it is 1,646.28. Now, doing this level, most of the settings are going to be similar. So apart from changing the area, there's only a few things that I need to really change. One of them is going to be the level, because part of the ground floor is supported by the ground and part is supported by the slab for the basement. For that, question 7 would be answered as split level. Question 8 would have to change because we already have drainage systems in place. Question 9, we can also put none. And we are going to edit question 11 because these are preliminary stuff that would have been done with the basement floor. So it's asking, will the property require bushing? It would not anymore because we would have done bushing for the basement floor and the surroundings already. Question 12 would also be no. And question 13 would also be no. Now, depending on if there's a hill immediately on this level, you can make a provision for the excavation, but in this case, we are not seeing that. So all of those are no. Other questions, which are question 14, which was yes, is going to become no. We would have had a site office from the previous calculation, so we would not need it anymore. Question 15, that's asking about storage facility, would have that from the basement, so that would not be relevant. Likewise, bathroom, likewise, water, and likewise, electricity. Question 19, that's asking about the water storage tank, would also be changed. And then outside of that, we wouldn't have anything else to adjust. And we would have a cost here, which is representing the ground floor, which is another $21.9 million. So adding it here would also give us a reading, which is saying that the square footage cost at the ground level is way less than it was at the basement, because at the basement level is where you do majority of the work. So the final figure that we are getting is $41.9 million. And in this case, you're seeing that the square footage cost change again. And this is again one of the things that we often say. When it comes down to square footage value, it is never consistent throughout a project, especially at different levels. So one of the biggest mistakes that Jamaicans make, especially people in construction, is that they start with one consistent figure, and as they are going through the project, many times the figures is not adding up. It is not that the final figure is wrong, it's the distribution of the funds leading to the final outcome. But that is as far as I'm going to go today. For persons in the membership group, I'm doing this video to ensure that you have guidance whenever you are using the builder's calculator. So I'm going to be heading out. Hope you have a great day. Take care.